live, and our first presenter tonight is Miss Mandy-Rae Cruickshank. Now, Mandy-Rae Cruickshank was born and raised in Edmonton, Alberta, very far from the ocean that has been calling her ever since she was young. Growing up, her parents encouraged her to do whatever she loved, which always had to do with water. She was a competitive synchronized swimmer, lifeguard, swim instructor, and at 15 years old, a scuba diver. After high school, Mandy became a scuba instructor, and not too long after that, she loaded up everything she owned into her small car and moved to the West Coast to start a career in diving. That choice has taken her to world record depths, the Academy Awards, and a life that she would never dreamt would be hers. So Mandy, we're really curious to know about the art of free diving. Please come up and tell us more.
Free diving is actually one word too. It's not free diving. It's a form of breath hold diving. So I got into it through that guy there, who's Kurt Kroc, my now husband. At the time, he had moved from the prairies to Vancouver to do a life of scuba instruction as well. He gave up tanks and we got into free diving and then coerced me into it as well. He in '99 trained 2 people to world records and then started a company, Performance Freediving. And we actually travel around the world teaching freediving to people. So we make our living doing this, teaching people how to hold their breath for upwards of 6 minutes at a time in 4-day programs. This is a nice picture of a competition we do annually in the Cayman Islands. Beautiful waters there. The first world record I did was actually a demonstration one with Audrey Mandy-Rae, who's no longer with us, unfortunately. But we went out to do this one, and they told me I had to do about 50 meters when I went there. And right before we left, I got a press release saying I was going to do a 100-meter dive. And I was so scared, ended up doing 101 meters, and my husband was so excited that I could equalize down there. He made me go for the world record the next year, and that's me taking my final breath to do a 136-meter world record dive, making me the deepest woman in the world for my first of 7 world records. This was a picture taken from my last world record of 7. This is constant ballast, so under your own power, swimming down to depth, grabbing a tag and swimming back up. This was 88 meters, 289 feet. And it's shallower than the 136-meter one, but it takes a lot more physical ability, so this is the one that I'm most proud of. Besides the world record side and teaching, we also compete internationally. And this was taken in Nice, France, actually, at one of my first competitions. And that's static apnea, breath hold for time. World record for that right now, 11 minutes and 32 seconds. So way longer than this presentation will take me to do. A few years ago, I was inducted to the Women Divers Hall of Fame alongside Dr. Sylvia Earle and a whole bunch of just amazing women that have done incredible things, all to do with our oceans and underwater. So it was a great privilege being inducted into that group of women. Besides all of this, we also take part in doing a lot of diving research. One of the questions we get most often is if free diving, holding your breath, causes brain damage. And we have done a lot of research, and no, it doesn't cause brain damage. I've had lots of studies done on my brain, and I've had a lot of blackouts, and it does not cause brain damage. But we've done other ones, splenic contraction tests and stuff like that. We, in 2006, got involved with magician David Blaine, and we trained him for his Lincoln Center Drowned Alive event, where he spent 7 days in this water-filled sphere in Lincoln Center. And then at the end of it, it was televised for 2 hours on ABC News. He held his breath for 7 minutes and 4 seconds. The year after, Oprah wanted him to come on and do an oxygen breath hold record. So he called Kirk and myself again, and we trained him up for that. And on Oprah Winfrey's show, we got him to 17 minutes and 4 seconds after breathing pure oxygen for 21 minutes. And it was kind of neat. She was petting me because of my wetsuit. Felt so cool. We also got to do a really fun trip with David Blaine to go dive with the great white sharks in Guadalupe. And that was a picture I took from my little underwater camera from the cage. But most of the dives that we did weren't really dives, but most of the encounters we had were outside of a cage, which was even more thrilling. And we got to do a bunch of really cool stuff with him. And then we got involved in the movie The Cove. Has anyone seen The Cove? Okay, good. If you haven't, go see it for sure. It won the Academy Award for Best Documentary in 2010, and it's about the slaughter of dolphins in Japan. This was the reason I was brought onto the film. Was originally it was going to be a half-hour made-for-TV movie, and they wanted a female freediver to give scale to humpback whales, and I was supposed to be the smaller of the two in there. And so we got to travel around for a couple of years doing incredible dives with whales. We had some amazing encounters with dolphins. This one, they were about an arm's length away from me. And if you've seen the movie, we had one encounter where they actually let me pet their belly, wild dolphins, and under their own terms, letting me actually rub their belly in the water. It was just mind-blowing that these creatures are trusting enough if you give them a chance. The end of our filming with OPS for The Cove ended up being about the cove in Taiji, where the slaughter of 20,000 dolphins and small whales happens every year. And when you walk into the Taiji, you'd swear that they love dolphins and whales because all their signage has whales and everything everywhere. And then you find out what happens there. This was the Black Ops team, is what they called everyone. And we were the team that went there and we hid the cameras underwater and on shore to expose what was happening in this cove. It meant a lot of different things to different people. For Rick O'Bear, it was all about the captive dolphins, because they actually captured dolphins and put them into captivity. And then they also, the rest of the pods are slaughtered and sold as meat in the markets. And because of what we've all done to our environment, whales and dolphins are actually toxic with the amounts of mercury and other contaminants in them. This is us going into the cove in the middle of the night to plant the cameras. This is their fishing fleet. These are pictures I took with my camera going down the street. And these boats go out, they put down metal poles into the water when they see a pod of dolphins or small whales, and they bang on it, creating an acoustical barrier. And so the dolphins can no longer properly communicate, and they're just herded down into a cove. And when they get in there, that's where they're slaughtered the next day. I had a reporter recently tell me that she had seen reports online that we weren't actually there with the fishermen or anything. And this is Kirk's in the corner there behind one of the cameras, and these guys were right in our face taking pictures, and this is from my personal camera, so it wasn't staged for the movie, it really did happen. And the biggest thing that we took out of all of the movie was that we need to make a difference for the next generation. This is our daughter. She's almost 2 years old and absolutely loves the water, and we want to be able to say when she grows up that we did try to make a difference in our environment. And hopefully everybody else will watch the movie and try to do the same thing as well. Oh, that was so hard. Thank you.